Today, I'm going to take you to visit the Impression 43, the latest model built by Elan. Please follow me. We are in Slovenia, just off Draught and in front of Piran, a lovely village on the Slovenian coast. We came here because here is the test center of Elan, run by the shipyard itself. There you'll find all Elan models, so you can just come here and test whatever you want. We came here to test the Impression 43, a model introduced in 2022. So a brand new model, designed by Humphreys, Elan's historical designer for waterlines, and by the Pininfarina firm for style. So this boat boasts the design of two big names. In recent years, Elan has embarked on a journey to climb the quality ladder. The shipyard can be ranked midway between series production builders and boutique shipyards. For example, between shipyards such as L.O.A, Veneto, Bavaria, and builders such as Solaris, Italia Yachts, and other such shipyards. So they make boats of much higher quality than that of series production builders, but at a much lower cost compared to models built by boutique yards. And higher quality is seen in this particular construction technique. This is one of the very few integral infusion constructions. That is, when they build the hull in the shipyard, they carry out an infusion process for the hull and the structures at the same time. This makes the structures more solid because they form an integral part of the hull. The Impression 43 is a fully fledged cruise boat. It has not been conceived as a performance boat. It is a cruise boat for families, for those who want to sail with their families, for those who don't need, or rather don't have, a large crew. They often have to get by on their own, as their wives and children may not be very accustomed or very keen on sailing. So they need a boat that's comfortable in sailing and, above all, gives them a great sense of safety. And this one does. How did Humphrey manage to convey this sense of safety? Through the underbody, by going a little off the beaten track. Nowadays, it's very common to make flat underbodies because a boat with a flat underbody is very fast. Instead of a flat underbody, he designed a deep one, because when you sail in rough sea with a deep underbody, sailing is much more comfortable. Passing over the waves is smoother and the boat doesn't bump. It's another thing altogether. So this is the right underbody type for a proper cruise boat. Now that we've drawn up a profile of the boat, let's go aft and meet Luigi Coretti. Luigi Coretti is the CEO of Adria Ship, the longtime importer of the Elan brand in Italy. It is with him that we're going to discover the boat specifically. Please follow me. Hi, Luigi.
Maurizio, good morning.
It's a beautiful day, Luigi.
Great. Sun, wind, calm sea.
Impression 43. As I understand it, this is the entry level of the range.
Right, Maurizio.
And all of the other ranges will start from a 43, 44-footer.
There is an upward leveling off, and Elan is also going up in size and cut.
Elan produces 70 boats a year, which is not many, so they decided to improve quality rather than producing more boats, and clearly also raise the minimum starting size. Is this a completely new hull? Here begins a new generation of Impression models.
Yes, indeed. The boat is still designed by Humphreys in terms of waterlines and sail plan, but with input in the hand of Pininfarina in terms of aesthetics, both above and below deck.
Former Impression models were designed by Humphrey below and above deck, but now a new feature has been introduced, which is a high-level design, because Pininfarina is clearly a high-level design firm. So let's take a look at the boat. I'd like to talk about lockers right away. I didn't point out before that in the forward area, just aft of the anchor locker, there's a locker that I think is essential, a locker for sails. Even if it's not a proper sail locker, because the inlet isn't large enough for big sail bags, it has a crucial function, because it can store all fenders. Having a place to store all fenders is really important. And here we find these two lockers, Luigi.
Correct. One on the right and one on the left.
And then this big locker down here, whose function doesn't quite convince me. It contains the life raft. Why aren't I convinced? Well, because pulling the raft out from here below, placing it here, closing the locker, and then taking it to the water is no small job.
Better here than there.
But as he rightly says, it's better down here than in the side locker as you see on other boats, because it's even harder to pull it out from that locker and take it into the water. But I hope that sooner or later Elan will make a locker that can be opened here in front, so that the raft can simply be towed into the sea for better safety. Speaking of safety, here I see the cockpit, which is very well sheltered.
Yes, I would call that an enveloping cockpit, as well as that spray hood enclosed by this high cutwater. At the end, we find these seats that are completely sheltered in all wind and sea conditions. It's almost impossible to get wet here.
Impossible to get wet, and above all, it gives much protection to children playing. And the important thing, in my opinion, is that such a cockpit gives your crew a feeling of being protected, something that's essential if you have a crew of people that are not particularly versed in the art of sailing. And here I'm seeing something nice. The two navigational consoles, which, if I'm not mistaken, are the same ones we found on the GT6 and the E6.
Yes, these designs are by Pininfarina too, so they are reminiscent of those of the E6. The handrail is also nice. It is very long, so there is a lot of space.
Two people can lean on this, one from there and one from here.
And there are handrails here and on the table too, so you can move in any condition inside the cockpit without any problems.
The other thing I wanted to point out, which you showed me before, is something typical and very useful in a cruise boat. And it's down here.
There's a barbecue down here, a nice big one.
And this is a very useful thing. You don't use it from up here, but standing on the platform. The grill allows you to cook meat and fish without having their smells inside the boat. On one side we find the grill, and on the other side, the refrigerator. Here is the refrigerator. So this is not a complete galley, but certainly a good portion of it. To show these two things, we talked about a platform. Would you also like to talk about this huge bathing platform?
You can choose between two platforms, either a low one at footboard level, or this one, which is the large one that encloses the entire transom.
When choosing, several considerations have to be made, because the footboard level platform is aesthetically attractive, but when you open it, it's very shallow. Aesthetically, this gives a sensation of being closed, but when you open it up, it's a real bathing platform, and you're going to spend a good part of your day on the bathing platform. With the platform, we've seen a bit of everything, so I'd say we should have a look below deck. Luigi, once I step in here, the first thing that strikes me is the finish.
The finish desired by Pininfarina has a strong impact,
It's very nice and original.
given by the contrast between this oak, or rustic oak as it is called at the shipyard, and these intriguing gray cabinets. This contrast between the oak and the gray color of the cabinets creates this impact, which takes some getting used to, but which you really like in the end.
Purposely using a knotty type of wood and turning the knot into a piece of furniture is something that only a designer could do. Would you like to talk about volume and layouts?
Let's talk about the layout first. The boat we are on is in the standard layout. The standard version is the 3-cabin layout. 2 twin cabins aft, with plenty of room for dressing and comfortable beds. Forward, we find a charming owner's cabin.
I see that all 3 cabins have something that I find very nice, which is ventilation, because they have a hatch above, a porthole below, and another side porthole.
Correct. The hatch above acts like a fireplace, so it helps you get warm air out.
The one that allows for an airflow.
The 2 aft cabins are complemented by a large head with its shower box. The owner's cabin is equipped with an ensuite head, also with its shower box. Or you may opt for a 4-cabin version, where the aft area is the same with the 2 twin cabins in the head, whereas the forward area has an additional bunk cabin that takes up some space from the forward cabin.
With that layout, you basically lose the central island bed, which is extremely convenient in a cruise boat, because you can get on the bed sideways instead of jumping on it. As well as going to bed, making the bed is also much more convenient. Making an island bed is certainly much easier than making a triangle bed. Impression boats are also known for being deckhouse models. For example, they have a high, impressive coach roof with larger windows. Here I find something special. I find what I can expect from a deckhouse model because standing here, I can see everything. I see the whole coast and whatnot. But this doesn't look like a classic deckhouse model to me.
We can say that from the outside, it doesn't look like a deckhouse boat. You only notice it once you come inside. We can call it semi-deckhouse. Outside, you cannot see the tail and high coach roof because Pininfarina did a great smoothing and hiding job on the coach roof line. So you don't notice it, and the coach roof is very stylish. In former Impression models, lines were more imposing, perhaps even a little heavy, but that is how early deckhouse boats were designed. And when you descend below deck, you have all the brightness, all the airiness of a semi-deck thanks to these windows, the side windows, thanks to the many openings. So even on a day that is not quite as clear as today, you still get plenty of light inside.
You're going to be impressed by brightness and the sensation of space and volume as soon as you enter.
This boat has a huge volume because of this coach roof.
And its volume is highlighted by light. With so much light, I feel as if I were in a bigger, more spacious place. And this is a very pleasant feeling. You told me that the chart hand, on the other hand, is not supplied as standard. It's optional.
In the standard version, the boat is designed with a piece of furniture there, so we have a lot of storage space, as I said. If you prefer the chart table instead, you can have it.
It's seldom used at present.
It is seldom used, but Elan still offers it as an option for those who like it.
This galley, on the other hand, is supplied as standard. Isn't there another option?
This is the only available galley.
And it's a gorgeous galley, a well-equipped galley along the side, with lots of room to work. And that's a special refrigerator, Luigi.
A nice large fridge placed transversely, and you can also opt for a second cooling compartment. This one is standard, and here we can place the optional second one.
But the really important thing is the cabins. Having the cabins in the galley is essential, because when I work in the galley, I need a place to store and take my stuff. Otherwise, cooking becomes very tiring. And this galley has a lot of cabinets. Now let's go back and continue sailing, as we draw conclusions from all that we've seen. Luigi, the wind is the same as before. Nothing has changed. We have about 20 knots of wind, and we're sheltered inside the Gulf, so the sea is flat. We have the Genoa and jib aloft. This is not the right setup, because with 20 knots of wind, we'd need to take in a reef and to reduce the jib size a bit, which would allow us to haul a little. But since the reefed mainsail and the furled jib, which looks somewhat like a belly, would look unattractive in the pictures taken from the drone, we decided to keep all sails aloft to let you admire some beautiful pictures. Would you like to talk about this sail plan?
The boat has a sail area of about 82 square meters. It has been conceived with a battened Decron mainsail, but you can also opt for a fully battened, as in this case, or furling mainsail. It has been conceived with a self-tacking jib, but you may opt for a traditional jib, as in this case, a non-self-tacking jib.
Very good. When choosing the sail plan, you need to pay the utmost attention, because whether or not you'll enjoy the boat depends on it. If you're going to sail the boat single-handed, if your family's not able to help you, you choose the self-tacking jib and a furling mainsail, and you've solved that problem. But if you have even just one person who can help you out, don't think twice. Get the standard Genoa and the fully battened mainsail. In the very least, keep the track of the self-tacking jib. So when you're tired of doing everything on your own, you can remove the Genoa, put on the self-tacking jib, and life becomes easier. But be careful. With the rig we have at the moment, sailing this boat is a lot of fun because it's a proper sailboat. It's 100% sailboat. You get on board, raise your sails, and start having some serious fun. As you can see here, we have dark gray sails, so we don't have any white Dacron sails. This is also another detail. When you buy sails, don't settle for those supplied by the shipyard. Choose some serious sails, because with serious sails, you're going to have fun. They respond in a completely different way. It's hard to believe. But if you try them, you'll be truly amazed at the difference there is between having one type of sail or another on the same boat. Yesterday morning, I tested the boat. The wind was more or less the same as it is now. And the speed that the boat reaches with this wind is between 9 and 9.5 knots in a close reach. It's a very calm boat. In terms of responsiveness, it's not a boat that responds violently. Even if now I'm going to close haul with all this wind, I never have to face a sharp reaction. There's always a nice and smooth reaction. You'll soon see that the boat will heel and begin to sail much faster. But that's not a sharp reaction. It's a reaction that I can handle without major problems. And this is what I need when I'm cruising with my family. And now let's talk about the rudder. It's a very smooth rudder, which doesn't cause any trouble and consumes little energy when on autopilot. Because if the rudder is smooth, the autopilot strains less, and so it consumes less and maintains a better course. I don't think there's anything else to say about the sailing part. I wish you all a good time. If you intend to buy the boat, before you do, be sure to come and try it out, because boats should never be bought blindly. So please contact this gentleman and come here to Port de Rose to test the boat. Thanks, Luigi.
Thanks to you, Maurizio.
Thank you for your attention, and I'll see you at the next video with svnsolovella.net. And now let's turn because we have the mussel field in front of us.